pretty high, probably to a lot, mostly because of interest problems, because the funds were depleted. Now, right now, we not only have that as a possibility, because we have more infrastructure problems coming down the line. For example, the redundant line under the highway, the the hydrants, all that stuff. Okay, that really needs to be done. Okay, and it may happen sooner than we think. Now, if you go and you get all the top grants and you get all the loans and all that kind of stuff, what are we going to do when there's nothing to cover it? I mean, instead of our rates doubling, it'll be triple or more. You know, I mean, it's just not fair to treat the town like this when you have these massive possibilities of expenses, which are going to be coming, and it's like, okay, you're just going to put a Band-Aid on it, deplete the funds, and not worry about it, kick it down the road for whoever's. Or else the town goes bankrupt entirely. You know, I mean, this is not right to treat the people in this town like this. It just is not right. There's got to be other solutions than what you guys are coming up with.
Okay, in the first place, those grants were, yes, they are, we've used all of them up for the lagoon, for the wastewater project. Those rates were raised back in 2010. They started raising them incrementally through the years. The only loan that we have out that we pay interest on is our rural development loan, which was $1.7 million, and that is at a fixed rate, fixed. It will never go up, at 2.5%. And that is rolled into our payment, which we pay every year. And that would be in the,
What line is that, Charlie?
it is in our debt service.
Is
And
that
it's
the,
about $48,000 a year,
is that the sewer loan?
yes.
That's a lot of money per year.
Yes, it is.
If it hadn't been depleted, if the funds had not been depleted, we wouldn't be paying, we would not have to be paying that.
We had to take out a loan in order to do the wastewater project.
Well,
We couldn't just do it on the grant money alone.
Well, yes, I know that. But I'm saying if all of those years had been kept in the fund, I mean, you're looking at,
I had nothing to do with that, neither did the council,
I know that,
about
but
saving any money for any fund.
I know
Those-
that, but you
some
can
funds
change
we're
course
supposed
right
to
now, that's my point. So that we do have something to work with for future projects.
That's the process we're undertaking as we speak.
What happened to the money that came in off of the party field? That was put in on your street, right?
No,
And it could have been put,
It
you
was
said
used
you
for-
found,
that
and right
money,
after
that
that,
money
you
that
paved
fixed
it.
Carbon Street, and it's not my street, it's Carbon Street.
Oh, yeah.
And that money came out of the Barca and the gas and oil revenue taxes, and the Barca funds, which was
What
a
happened to
special
the Barca
legislation. It's in the general fund.
It's in the general fund, or is it in a reserve deal? We went through this last year,
No.
Shirley.
We talked about this, that 40,000, we did a resolution to put it into a special fund,
Right.
which was roads and streets, to help pay for the paving of
The school street.
the, no, the carbon,
Carbon.
for the
For
carbon.
It went
Yeah.
to Carbon
And she asked
Street.
about it, and she said, well, it went out of supplies, and we went from general fund, the 40,000 general fund, to, the road and streets fund,
Okay,
and then we went, and it wasn't the supplies for road and streets, it was for the paying of the supplies and the company to put the paving
That's
down.
the one I'd ask about.
With
And I
the
talked to,
knife
and
and
we
the
talked to
what?
Kyle, I talked to Kyle about it, and it was, that resolution is correct. Because it went to a special, it went from general fund to a special fund, which is roads and streets, to supplies, which in order
yeah,
to
and
pay
then last year we did the collaboration with the
The
school
school.
and did the school
school
street
with
and North
with our
Street.
Barca funds.
Yes, with our
So-
Barca and gas and oil tax.
Did the other 11,000 go into the general fund of that then?
Yes.
I think so.
My
Yes.
question is,
11,543.
when you
What was
have
left over
something
still?
like that, and you sell an asset like that, you don't go do streets with it. You either pay off interest, or you put it in a reserve account.
Exactly.
Well, those are decisions that were made by this council, and I don't think any of us would change our vote. So if you wanna make those decisions, then you need to run for council,
Believe me, there's quite a few that are going to.
and that's fine, we encourage it. I encourage it.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
But the decisions that we make are Tammy, you know,
I
They are
understand, but
We're-
when you
we're
take
trying
an
to do
investment,
decisions that are best for the
Excuse me.
town as a whole.
excuse me, and infrastructure is part of what we need to be concerned with.
I understand that you have to be concerned about infrastructure. I'm well aware how infrastructure happened in this town. Because when I first moved here, they were mostly dirt streets.
Right.
But there was also a ton of money. And then it's just went downhill ever
Money?
since. Oh, yeah,
There
Really?
was,
there
there was
was
a lot of
a
money.
ton of money.
Where does it come from?
They saved it, they did not spend it. They were
When
not,
his grandma was in,
they were
Yeah,
not
right.
wasteful. They were extremely, extremely tight. In fact, they had so much money, the bank had to call them and they had to defer money into different accounts because they had too much sitting in single accounts. Like I said, but it's been people that have not paid attention to the water and the sewer and, well, we don't wanna, nobody will like us if we raise the rates when it's not balancing out.
Well, the rates in Fromberg are not low. to
No,
start
they're
with.
not.
And
But
you ask
this
anybody in
is
this
when
town,
they were low.
If you ask 300 people in this town, you'd get 299 people saying they're more than what we're comfortable with.
Oh, yes,
All
I
right.
understand that, but if
And,
you have to
and we
look
have a
for
lot of older folks that live in this town that have fixed budgets. And to go to them and say, look, we'd love to have coffers, money falling out our ass, but we can't.
no, I don't want
Exactly the
coffers or
point.
anything, but I want a balanced budget.
I agree. And we should have a balanced budget. And I don't see that we're wasting a ton of money. Now, you might have a different idea on that, but that's my opinion.
I
Go ahead.
think that there's been a lot of bad decisions, drawn a lot of lawsuits, there's been a lot of bad decisions that has drained this town way too much. And meanwhile, and this is another important point, meanwhile, there is no zoning in this town because of situations like Mackenzie and the trailer house by Aaron, et cetera. There's no zoning. You don't need a permit, do doggone whatever you want to because there are no zoning laws.
This is
So-
not what we're talking about.
So I'm just saying, that kind of attitude draws lawsuits, which drains the resources of this town.
But
There's
Elton,
got to be good management.
Did bring up a viable point. You're talking about a budget. We've talked for 3, 4, 5 years now on ordinances. And spent how much to have this person come and do this and how much for that person to come and do that. And none of it's budgeted in.
And you won't let us do it.
It's not budgeted in.
That's not true. You resigned from zoning, and so did Tammy.
We're
We're
not
not
talking,
talking-
we're talking ordinances, Shirley.
Ordinances are still being looked at. They are right now with the new town attorneys, and those are the people that are going to sift through them, research them, and take care of them.
Well, I'm saying it's not budgeted in according to what he
It's
says.
budgeted into the legal accounts for legal services. That's where the money is budgeted at.
Okay, the $12,000 is gonna cover all that.
Well, probably not, because it's gonna take a while for them to get through everything. But we have to have that, we cannot budget for more than $12,000 a year, and we've already discussed that with the attorneys. And they are fine with looking at that. They will look at the ordinances as they come up, and will make a decision from there. But until then, as you said, we're in the toilet with the budget, so where in the hell do you expect us to get all this money?
Well, I'm just saying, it's something that, even if you're gonna put $2,000 down this year and $2,000 down next year to work towards ordinances that you have to acquire, it might be something to think about.
And we've been thinking about it, and that's what our legal attorneys are doing right now.
I
They have
feel
a
the
certain
ordinance.
amount of money that they can put toward looking at those ordinances, along with every other legal thing that we have going on in town.
Well, we spent a lot in the past on working on ordinances.
And had you not violated 90% of them, they would have been fine.
Oh, Lord, for God's sake,
It's true.
you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, the hell I don't.
Let's
Just
stay
forget it.
civil.
The cost for the ordinances that you and Hope and Elton and your group looked at and went through, that was not charged to the town.
I know that wasn't charged. But when you had Audrey working on them, you were paying her to work on them,
No,
were
we
you
weren't.
not?
No.
That's
we
what
were
I
having-
understood from the
We
council.
had contracted
I don't
with
think she was
Audrey,
working on ordinances.
we had contracted with Audrey to present the ordinances to the state, to the leagues of cities and towns, which she did. She didn't really do anything. She came in, she did some filing, she did some other things, but she didn't really work on the ordinances. She sent them to Kelly Lynch, who is an attorney for the state. And Kelly Lynch, Audrey informed us that Kelly Lynch said we had to start over because they were all null and void. I, after that, talked to Kelly Lynch personally, and she said she never even talked to Audrey Walliser. So,
We spent money for it.
yes, we did. Bad money.
Yeah.
I would like to say one more thing. There have been people, not myself, who did sign up for the zoning committee, and they brought up several times in the meetings, and you guys never ever put them on the zoning committee or did anything with it. And that's improper, because the ordinances require a zoning committee,
We're
You guys
discussing
ignored them.
budget only tonight.
and the ordinances were the same way. You put us off the ordinance committee. That's improper.
I
Maybe
did
not illegal, but improper.
Okay. Any more discussion, council?
Not me, I'd like to see these numbers corrected before we,
We can do it before our meeting on the 20th. If you want, we can do it afterwards, we can put out a.
yeah, I'd like to have somebody proof these.
All right,
obviously.
I'll talk to Amber and see what we did, where we did, what we did, how we did it, and what needs to be changed. Can we get them?
Before we get to the bottom of it, I make a motion we adjourn.
I'll
I
second.
have a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your comments.